Di mana? Please. Ada nak panggil. I'll be back. Okay, please. We will drag on.
Saya ada kerja, nanti saya datang balik. All the IAIS are here. You are in good hands. I'll be back. Hello.
Banyak. No. All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita mengambil keberkatan Ramadan ini dengan memulakan majlis kita dengan baca Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Let me just express my gratitude for everyone that has made to come here in this, I call it a very spontaneous notification. Sorry. Okay. Spontaneous means that this is an emergency meeting, and I think the Prime Minister also is informed about this meeting. It is an emergency one. Everybody knows the situation. That is very, is going to be very fast. Things are going to happen within the next probably few days. And therefore, I made the decision to call for this meeting to discuss the situation. And as Malaysians, we do have to take into account the gravity of what's happening in Iran and the repercussion. And also that means that we will discuss on, while we will try to get the most updated situation from Dr. Arzani, who is with us today from the Iran Cultural Center. Probably he will be giving us the updates and some of the things that we are following through so many, social media and things coming from Iran and from everywhere. So I think we need to verify, but I think Dr. Arzani will help us on that. While we have been told that the Prime Minister is going to make a motion at about 11:30 at the Parliament, and we are requested whether we can just delay a little bit of our decisions or declaration to be in line with what will be passed in the Parliament. Well, I agree on that. So, but then we do not have to wait for the motion, which we will be. I'm trying to get the technical part to, open the parliamentary. RTM will have the live, I think, afterwards, and then we will listen to the Prime Minister. But before that, let me just give you just an opening speech to give you the background of the essence of our discussion. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to representatives of agencies, NGOs, political leaders, scholars, community leaders, and members of media at this launched by the United States and Israel against the Islamic Republic of Iran, a bilateral conflict between nations. It represents a dangerous escalation that carries the potential to trigger a large regional war with serious global consequences. Before anything else, I would like to extend our deepest condolences to the people of Iran and to the family of the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, over his martyrdom and the martyrdom of his beloved wife, daughter, his son-in-law, and his grandchild. We grieve with the Iranian nation. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses their souls, forgives their shortcomings, elevates their ranks among the righteous, and grants them the highest reward of Jannah. May their sacrifice be accepted, and may their blood not become a license for further injustice, but a wake-up call to the conscience of the world. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in the eyes of millions across the Ummah, stood as a towering mujahid, steadfast, uncompromising, and firm in the face of oppression. And this is the truth the world must confront today. Even an old and physically weakened body, when carrying a principled position and a fearless voice, becomes a threat to the US and Israel. They fear not his strength of muscles, but his strength of conviction. They fear not his age, but his moral defiance. They fear not his body, but the spirit of he represented to the Iranian nation and to the wider Ummah. We must review this development with clarity and courage. Unilateral military action against a sovereign state without legitimate international authorization constitute an act of aggression that challenges the fundamental principles of the United Nations Charter. If such actions are allowed to proceed without accountability, the world risks entering an era where powerful nations impose their will through force without regard for international law. More importantly, the attack on Iran cannot be separated from the broader geopolitical context of Middle East or West Asia, particularly the prolonged conflict in Palestine and the ongoing humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. The international community is witnessing a recurring pattern that is military force is used to sustain geopolitical dominance and impunity, while civilian life is treated as expendable. In Gaza, we have seen a model of annihilation. And the crashing of civilian lives. We have witnessed how the this is why the US is not a bystander. The US is completely through the diplomatic protection and military support to Israel while stability is put aside. And that is why Iran is now in the crosshairs. Iran has been viewed as a key supporter of the Palestinian struggle, politically and materially. Many understand that the nuclear file is repeatedly used as a convenient narrative, but the deeper objective is to weaken any force that sustains Palestinian steadfastness and resistance against occupation. This is also why Al-Quds, Al-Aqsa, and the future of Palestine remain central in this geopolitical conflict. Now, we consider this situation a threat not only to regional stability, but also to global energy security, international economic systems, and human security worldwide. Iran is located near one of the most strategic energy corridors in the world. Any escalation could directly affect global oil prices, supply chains, and the economic stability of developing countries, including Malaysia. This crisis also carries the risk of involving additional global powers, potentially expanding into a wider geopolitical confrontation. The world cannot afford a conflict that could endanger millions of lives and destabilize international peace. In this context, Malaysia must not remain silent. Malaysia has historically upheld the principles of peace, justice, and national sovereignty at the international level. Therefore, Malaysia should play a proactive and principled role in advocating diplomatic solutions and opposing military aggression. I wish to emphasize several key positions. Number one, military aggression against a sovereign state must be condemned without compromise. Number two, this conflict must be halted through diplomacy and international pressure. Third, the United Nations must act more decisively to prevent further escalation and protect civilians. And fourth, the international community must reject geopolitical approaches based on military domination and regime change agendas. We must also emphasize that global peace cannot be built through war. History or destruction, humanitarian crisis, and long-term instability without resolving root causes. Today, we are not speaking only about Iran, we are speaking about the future of global peace. We are speaking about the principles of international justice. We are speaking about the right of nations to exist without the threat of external aggression. We are speaking about the right of the Palestinian people to live with freedom, dignity, and justice, with Al-Aqsa protected and with occupation brought to an end. I call upon all stakeholders, including the Malaysian government, regional countries, international organizations, civil society, and the global community to play an active role in preventing further escalation. We must not allow the world to move toward a larger war. Peace requires moral courage. Justice requires principled leadership. Humanity requires urgent action. Finally, I hope this emergency session will produce a united and clear voice that the Malaysian people stand firmly for peace, justice, protection of the civilians, and respect for national sovereignty. So that is the background of our discussion. I would like now to invite Dr. Arzani, the Council Cultural of the Islamic Republic of Iran, to give an update of what is going on in Iran now and what is anticipated. Tafadhal.
في محكم كتابه الكريم ولا تحسب الله الشيطان الرجيم ولا تحسب الذين brothers and sisters. Actually, this because Ayatollah Khamenei, Rahmatullah, is student for almost years. Every day, his service to hear this news is very, very, let me say, the saddest news that I heard in my whole life was the demise of Ayatollah Khomeini first, and this is the second one. But I'm going to mention, first of all, about just in a couple of minutes, about the personality of Ayatollah Khomeini. Of course, you know Ayatollah Khomeini from the news, and I'm going to mention you that His Excellency, he was not only a supreme leader for us, he was a spiritual guide and murshid for us. He was a knowledgeable person that every day that you meet him in the morning, almost from 7 to 8, we had class with him. So it was
Sorry for the interruption. Can you sit beside the chick? Because the media wants to spotlight the.
No,
Sorry about that.
Is this?
Can I continue or start from the beginning? First of all, I'm going to again.
You said about your interaction with the
Yes.
supreme leader.
Actually, our supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, he was a murshid and guide, spiritual guide for all of the Iranians, almost most of the Iranians who knew him. When we are going to discuss about his personality, I think that we are going to look at his personality from different aspects. One of them, and the most important one, is spiritual actions and spiritual service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if you are going to do something for your nation, first of all, you have to start yourself. You are not going to purify yourself. How you are going to be a teacher and murshid and guide to other people. This is very important. And most of the time, he was telling us that this is very important. You have to start from yourself, not from your nation, even not from your family. Yourself and yourself and yourself, and then your family, then your close society, and then for your people, for your nation. This is the most important things. Let me tell you that according to his program, every night at 9 o'clock he should sleep, and 1 hour before Salah, he supposed in Iran most of the time. The time of prayer is almost 4 or 5 p.m. according to winter and summer. So 1 hour before Salah, you know, he couldn't sleep, and he was awakened for Salatul Fajr, for Salatul Layl, every night. In the months of Ramadan, 2 hours before Salatul Fajr, he's supposed to be awakened for Salatul Layl and for Tahajjud and for prayer and for, dua for all the Muslims. It was his, regular program. After that, knowledge, it was very important for him. He himself was knowledgeable, but knowledge, sometimes we're going to look at the knowledge as a traditional knowledge, but knowledge for him, most of the time was mentioning that almost 400 years back, Muslims all around the world, they were on the top. And Holy Quran, he mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said that وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. You're supposed to be on the top. But if you are going to be a good believer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said that we were 400 years back. We had our civilization, our Islamic civilization. And right now, this is the time that we have to back to the new Islamic civilization. This is very important. Muslims supposed to be top in when Holy Quran said, وَأَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. What is the meaning of that? It does not mean that only in military power. No, in your technology, in your knowledge, in your ilm, in your sciences, everything. You as a Muslim supposed to be on the top if you are going to have a Islamic civilization. Another thing that it was very important is was thinking about his people. He said that sometimes in his class, some people they were mentioning some of their suggestion, their issues. But he said that of course it's true, but the most important thing is my nation. And you know that he knew that Israel is going to attack us. But what happened? He was able to escape from the country to go to another countries. He was able to escape from his city, Tehran, to go to another cities, from his office to other offices. But he said that I'm not going to live here. If it is a place for all of my nation, all of my people to do this, I'm going to do that. But if they are not able to do that, what's the difference between me as a religious leader of the people to save myself and I'm not going to think about my people and my nation? So his nation was very important for him. Maybe, and you said that, let me tell you, that we had a very good opportunities to attack Israel, but we didn't do that. In 47 years of our after revolution till now, he and before him Ayatollah Khomeini, he said that we are not going to attack to any country, no America, Israel. And you know that at the regime Shah regime that we had before our revolution, we had the Ministry of War. But Ayatollah Khomeini, at the beginning of our revolution, he said that we are not going to have war with the people and with the nation and with the governments. We are going to be all together. So we are going to change even the name of the ministry from the Ministry of War to the Ministry of Defense. So right now we have the Ministry of Defense. And you know that Israel, America sent, his navy to, Persian Gulf, and they were all over there. He sent his airplanes over there. All of them, they were there. And we had opportunity to attack them. But he said that we are not going to start any war. We are not going to start any conflict in the region. This is very important to have to live in peace in our region. But when they attack us, of course, this is our right to defend ourselves. And this is not from our constitution. This is from international constitution. That if any country attack you, you have right to attack him. But for America, I'm going to mention also this thing that sometimes some of the, Arab countries that they are in our neighbors, maybe they are mentioning that why you are going to attack us. But you know that we didn't attack even one place in, Arab countries around ourselves, neighboring countries. We attacked to the U.S. military bases that they have been located in their country. And we announced it not one time, not two times, for a couple of times we mentioned that if America is going to use its bases in your country, definitely we are going to defend ourselves, because we are not going to send missiles to America. He is going to use his base in, for example, in these Arab countries. Definitely we are going to defend ourselves, and we have no any other way, because we are not going to attack to them. They are using those bases, and we are going to defend ourselves by, defending ourselves to sending missiles or drones to those bases. This is also one thing which is important that I wanted to mention. For Ayatollah Khamenei, the new Islamic civilization was very important, but peace was more important than this for him. You know that Imam Khomeini, at the beginning of our revolution, he mentioned that we have to be united. And he said that not after revolution, even before our revolution, maybe 20 years before our revolution, he mentioned that the first enemy of all Muslims, not Iran, not Palestine, is Israel. And you should know your enemy. If you know your enemy, then you can defend yourself. But if you're not going to know your situation, definitely you're not going to, to defend yourself. And he mentioned repeatedly, and also Ayatollah Khamenei, he mentioned after him that the first enemy of all Muslims all around the world is Israel. Right now, our respected Chigo mentioned that right now it's terror of Iran. Let me tell you that 2 years ago it was terror of Palestine, or repeatedly before that also. And then Iran, and then Syria, and then. They are not going to stop. They are not going to stop, because they don't want Islamic civilization. They don't want Muslim to be on the top. And they are going to start, and then they ask support from US, and support should help them and should support them. Why? You know reason better than me. I'm not going to mention the reasons. I'm going to mention that, of course, it was the martyrdom of our spiritual leader, but it is not going to be end by that. You know that exactly at the time that they were attacking to religious leader office, they attacked to one of the school girls. That more than 100 school girls, 12 years, 10 years old, all of them, they have been martyred. And you know that our government mentioned, because Israel attacked, you should go and you should collect your children from the schools, and it's definitely is going to be more safe to have all the gathering all together. And their parents, some of their parents, they were there because they went there to collect their children, and all of them, they have been more than 100. Only children, innocent children, they have been killed. But just look at the news. No one is going to mention. Just are mentioning about the religious leader. It was not only. It's not going to be ended by religious leader. It is for, let me say, those innocent children and many other people. Just last night, 2 hospitals, according to my news. 1 hour before coming to this meeting, 2 hospitals have been attacked. Why you are going to attack to the hospitals? And then you are going to defend from what? And you are going to attack to whom? To the innocent people that they are in the hospital? I'm going to mention that also the thing which is very important right now, and I'm going to appreciate and thank Malaysian, very kind and respected people. It's almost 2 years that I'm here in Malaysia, and I've been in 53 countries. Let me tell you that if someone asks me that which country you prefer to live, I'm going to say that first definitely is my country, Iran, and after that is Malaysia. Because Malaysian people, Malaysian nation, they are very great nation. And it's my honor to live with you and to stay with you, and I learned a lot from your nation and your respected people. I'm going to thank you for having this meeting, this urgent meeting, and thank you for your respected presence. I'm going to thank Chigo Azmi and IAIS for managing this meeting. Definitely, we are, if all Muslims be together, and despite of their schools, and sometimes we are going to have the schools of the Muslims, Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, Shia. This is, let me tell you, brothers and sisters in faith, that all of us, إنما المؤمنون إخوة, we are all brothers, and we are not going to think about some of the, if for example we are going to perform our prayer, like, for example, closing hand or opening hand. What's the difference between that? But our heart is very close to each other. I live in Iran, I'm Iranian, and it's almost 2 years that I'm living in Malaysia. I think that we are very close to each other, these two nations, these two great civilizations. And I think that, as Ayatollah Khomeini mentioned, Rahmatullah alayh, he said that Yawm al-Quds, the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, it is for the unity of Muslims. Unity for what? Unity does not mean that changing your religion, your school, your thoughts, your beliefs. No. Unity means that we have a target. You have your own idea, I have my own idea, I have my own belief, you have your own belief, but we have a target. For that target, we have to be united. And what is the target of all Muslims? We are, facing the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, and we are in the month of Ramadan, which is the month of Ziyafatullah, which is all of us, we are the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this respected month, the last Friday of this month, 13th of March, will be the day of Quds, Yawm al-Quds. And Yawm al-Quds is the unity of all Muslims all together. If we are going to be united for what? United for the enemy of all Muslims all around the world. And at the end, also, I'm going to thank and appreciate respected people of Malaysia, and also the government of Malaysia. His Excellency, Mr. PM, Prime Minister, and all of our respected personalities that they announced their sympathy with Islamic Republic of Iran. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arzani. I think we have laid down some facts and also the analysis. And I think Dr. Arzani probably will, if you ask any more questions later, you can ask him about the details, what happened to the Supreme Leader. You can openly ask that. Now we have about 5 minutes before we are supposed to hear the motion by the Prime Minister. So once it's on air, we'll just focus on that. But within these 5 minutes, if any of you wants to come in and express your views, please do so. So let me open. We have our former Minister Datuk Sri Mukris. So would like to say anything? Yeah. Situ ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On behalf of John and I, we do would like to express our condolences of timely martyrdom of community. And we feel that it's really high time that the lives of the United States and Israel be exposed. And I think despite the tragic events of yesterday and the day before, it is also an opportunity for us to do just that. As we all know, as recent as the 27th of February, Iran and the United States were in negotiations brokered by Oman, and this was widely reported in the media, held in both Muscat and Riga. I had the opportunity to view an interview by CBS, Face the Nation, with the Right Honorable Foreign Minister of Oman. And he very clearly stated that they have reached incredible progress in the negotiations, to the extent that there was a very high probability, given a little bit more time, that Iran would concede many things far beyond what had been agreed with the previous Obama administration. So that included zero storage of enriched uranium, which was basically the reason for which is used, as we all know, for the production of nuclear bombs. So this was extremely significant news, actually, that was made public just 2 days before the attacks. For Israel to decide to start bombing Iran, despite the huge progress made by Oman for this peace deal, just proves to us that there was really no intention at all to have peace. The whole intention was Greater Israel, and America was very, very much in cahoots with Israel. So the whole world was bamboozled. We were lied to. We were fooled into thinking that they were serious about peace, when the whole intention right from the beginning was basically hegemony. One may wonder, why would the US, such a big superpower, listen to a small country like Israel? I think the answer is now plain and clear for all of us to see. It's the Epstein files. it's so obvious. So, as we know, just the name Trump has been mentioned tens of thousands of times in those files. And it seems like a very convenient sidetrack or distraction for him. Unfortunately, by way of war, just to save his own neck. And so this is a absolutely atrocious situation, one that must be condemned unequivocally by the whole world, including us here in Malaysia. So we want to express our absolute solidarity with Iran, with our brothers in Palestine, especially in Gaza, and for the rest of the not just the Muslim countries, but all fair-thinking countries. We've seen statements by the Prime Minister of Spain. I expect there'll be something coming out from both Ireland and South Africa, and these are all brothers in arms. And we hope to see an end and a quick cessation of these hostilities, and that the whole world can go back to enjoy peace dividend, but not a war profit. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sri.
Thank you.
Very enlightening. We can still further on. I'm just monitoring what's happening in the parliament. So I invite anybody else to add on. Dr. Nazim, do you want to say anything? Yeah. Mr. Dr. Prof. Roslan, give a little bit of your, yeah. Prof. Roslan Mano from Persatuan Ulama.
Thank you, Mr. Gasmi. All distinguished guests. I think we are in the same similar line of opinion. We agree with what has been mentioned by Mr. Gasmi, and deepest condolences to the people of Iran on the matter of the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and his family. We feel very touched on the spirit of the people of Iran to go against the world in the moment. And the only country which we see very serious to go against the establishment of Zionism. This is very important to understand about the project of Zionism, as we mentioned by Dr. Sri I think we don't have much what to say, but we all behind people to face with this kind of challenges in the world. So, on behalf of the Persatuan Ulama Malaysia, we would like to say that again, very sorry to hear the news, and then we hope that the next leader will be appointed soon. Inshallah. Okay, thank you. So,
Thank you, Dr. Prof. Roslan. From IAIS, Dr. Patri.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to be partnered with MAPIM to organize this very important session this morning. IAIS as a think tank, and we report directly to the government, Prime Minister's office. We keep on updating development from our counterparts from the region, the West Asian region, from Tehran, and also from other part of the region like Doha, other part of the West Asian region, for us to get the updates on what is happening there. And we really hope that this aggression by the Israeli regime and also United States of America will not going to be escalate into a regional war that will give a more negative impact to the whole world. We are now witnessing how the economy is responding to the current situation with the oil price and also other economic factors. So we wish Malaysia will take a very stern, a very strict stand on the situation. We are waiting for the statement from the Prime Minister in a few minutes. So as we mentioned by all the speakers, I think we are behind the people of the Iranian people, and we are feeling sadness for the passing or the martyr of Supreme Leader. So I think we would like to collaborate, I think, with the Embassy of Iran for us to update on the situation of the region, especially to the Malaysian public and also to our fellow research institutions and also think tanks in Malaysia. With that, excuse me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmad Badri. So we are still waiting. So can I have one or two more? Yeah, Datuk. Okay.
Yes. In trying to study the agenda of small Israel and how they control America. They bring this whatever agenda that they are doing is not new. It has been there from as far as I remember. We have been somehow programmed the doctrine to believe what they say. After that standard, most people would believe whatever they do. By going lies, they are cheated with so many things. 911, Y2K, Sidang, Gaddafi, all they've got to do this. I think we have got to do something in our own small capacity. But of course, probably, with some guides and planning. Was me and all here, we can think about the future because that has already happened, and the way we look at it, it will not stop. So I think we need to have a strategy to handle this issue from a longer perspective. Because we are talking peace, they are talking war, they are lying, we have believed them, and they've been promoting their lies, lies of Superman, Batman, and everything, whatever they want to do. And we have believed our children believe them. But I think, of course, what happened in Epstein's case gives us some light. But I think we need we can put this thing together for the future. That one, maybe nothing much we can do. We can pray, we do whatever we could. But for the future, we have got to really come out of this. You cannot allow this because we have our religion. If we follow the religion, as you were saying just now, we can do. I believe we can do a lot of things. And we try some smaller issue. We have managed to do quite a bit of things. but we serious, we have got to have the complete plan. At the moment, I don't think we have any fair plan to be anywhere. I think we are lying to ourselves also. So let's think of something, let's have a group, never mind, we may start small, but it's towards building our strength. And that is very serious. And of course, we may be a patch of dust or what, but if dust gets into the eyes, it's pretty very. So let's find a way, to put ourselves together to plan. We are a consumer-based organization. Cikgu is my sifu, guru. So I believe because most of us are consumers, and actually we have been consumed, we have been lied to, from day one. So that has got to change. Let's break up this spirit, Cikgu, tolong cikgu. Tolong, and let's get together. What? The worst is we die, after all we got to die. So it's no big deal. Okay? I mean, we are willing to play a role in what to do whatever because what we can do, maybe from the perspective of boycott, like things that we have started to do. For example, a small thing, the boycott of Big Mac, the boycott of Starbucks. Starbucks lost a few hundred million. Nothing, we didn't even raise our hands. So maybe, let's get together to a clear agenda because we need to have the clear agenda also, otherwise we'll be fighting among ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are still following this. Please tell me. But I want to share with you what I sent to the Prime Minister last night. This view is, I'm trying to just help him to see whether the motion that will be debated once he presents it, but I want to include some of my thoughts. So this is what I sent to him last night. I said I view with serious concern the recent development following the joint military attacks by United Nations and Israel against Iran, which have triggered a dangerous escalation of conflict in the West Asian region. Now, the reported strikes targeting several major cities, including Tehran, indicate a significant rise in tensions that could potentially ignite a wider regional confrontation. Now, this conflict does not involve Iran and Israel alone. It carries serious risks to global security, stability, the national energy routes, and the whole economy. Disruption in the Gulf region, which is rich in global energy resources, could have major implications for oil prices, international trades, and economies of developing nations, including Malaysia. Now, Malaysia, as a nation that upholds the principles of peace and national sovereignty and international law, must adopt proactive and principled measures in responding to this case. Now, my proposal to him was, number one, the firm position at the international level. Malaysia should issue an official statement, I think that has been done, condemning any unilateral military action that violates the United Nations Charter and the principles of national sovereignty. Then I also proposed to him that the diplomatic initiative through ASEAN and OIC. Malaysia can play a constructive role as a voice for peace through ASEAN, OIC, and now non-aligned movement to call for immediate ceasefire and diplomatic resolution. I also proposed to him about support for United Nations mechanism. Malaysia should urge an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council and advocate for the activation of conflict prevention mechanism to halt escalation. Number four, I told him about the protection of Malaysian citizens in the Middle East. The government should enhance preparedness measures to ensure the safety of Malaysians in high-risk areas and prepare emergency evacuation and plans if the situation deteriorates. Then I also point to him about the national economic and energy preparedness. Geopolitical tension in West Asia may impact global oil prices and trade stability. Malaysia should implement mitigation measures to protect citizens from inflationary pressures and supply chain disruptions. I added the last point to him that Malaysia's role as a peace facilitator. Malaysia has a reputation as a moderate and principled diplomatic actor. The country could offer support for peace negotiations and political solutions that respect the sovereignty of all parties. Then I shared with him about what is the view, what is the position taken by my organization. So I indicated to him that we stress that war is not a solution to international disputes. Armed conflict only increases human suffering, deepens regional instability, and undermines global peace. The world has witnessed the devastating consequences of prolonged wars in West Asia for decades. Another large-scale conflict would bring further destruction without guaranteeing a sustainable peace. And Malaysia must stand firm with the principles of justice, peace, and national sovereignty in confronting this crisis. And global peace requires moral courage, principled leadership, and decisive diplomatic action. This is a very short kind of thing that I was able to come up with, and I sent it to him. As usual, he only gave me the thumbs up. I said, I don't like these thumbs. I don't want these thumbs. So many people do that too. I said, yeah, please give some comments. But anyway, I think he's right. Okay, and when Dr. Nazim mentioned about the small efforts that we do, I think, yes, basically we should have that feeling of do not just sit and you become a spectator, but you have to do something. And all of us can do something, but reading from what's happening now and the reality, doing something has to be very well coordinated. If you want to have an impact, we have to really organize ourselves with all the various groupings that we have, from political parties to civil societies to professionals to scholars and to media. That coordination is not strong as of now. So when, yes, the call for boycott, which is very important, I think we should really, increase this and always trying to communicate with people that boycotting is the one vote that you can express, that nobody can control you. You understand why boycott is important, why you have to be consistent in your boycott. That has to be educated, because people have this orang Melayu cepat lupa, Tuan Mahathir was saying. And yes, in reality, that's how we do it. So you have these heightened things, and then people get, they forgot and normalize back to the same thing. So I think we stress on that. But there is some principal things that I want to mention to you about what we are going to conclude later on after we heard, we'll get the Prime Minister's motion. There are some core principles that we have to really embrace. Number one is the sovereignty and the rule of law. That is one principle that we are going to, connect with whatever we are expressing, what campaigns we're going to launch. It has to be these principles of sovereignty and rule of law, where we affirm that the sovereignty, the territory integrity, the political independence of all states must be respected. The use of force outside lawful international parameters is unacceptable and threatens the foundations of global stability. So we call it the rule of law, right? Number two, and why this is important, because we know that Trump administration has not only ignored but clearly say that we don't care about international law. We're going to do what we want to do, and that's why United Nations has been cornered and has been paralyzed by them. So he created another entity called the Board of Peace to become, the kind of platform that is going to be the decisive entity of the world. So international law is thrown out. So we're going to emphasize that. The second core principles in our engagement on this issue is the rejection of hegemonic power and militarized domination. That is the second principle. That we reject hegemonic practices that impose political outcomes through military superiority, coercive threats, and destabilization. This logic fuels endless conflict cycles and punishes civilians first. What we mean by this is that we understand these Western powers, which is led by the Zionists, using United States of America and connecting with whatever United States is doing around the world. But at the back is this hegemonic power of the Zionist movement. So we want to emphasize that we reject this hegemonic power and militarized domination. He bragged himself that, the most powerful military in the world. Nobody can ever contest this. And he bragged about the whole military that is being now moved into the region, and saying that nobody can say anything about what we're going to do. We're going to kill people. We're going to kill babies and children. We're going to devastate the whole area. We don't care what people say. Number 3, the principle that we want to hold is the civilian protection as a sacred duty. That we declare that the protection of civilians is a non-negotiable moral and legal obligation. All parties must comply with international military law, including distinction, proportionality, and precautions to minimize civilian harm. Hospitals, emergency services, and critical civilian infrastructure must be protected. I think that is what is mentioned by Dr. Arjani, that they are very specific about this. I think the Supreme Leader, when I met him the last visit to Tehran, it was very clear, that Iran has got the legitimacy to strike on the military bases, US military bases that surrounds Iran, because definitely all these bases will be the platform of attacks. So to dispute the right of Iran to exercise its right of defense will then deny the fact that when they specifically focus on military targets, we compare to what they have been done for the last 2 days. They attack a school and they attack a hospital. Are they saying that Hamas is in the school? It's not Hamas, this is Iran. What excuse do they have when they strike at the school? So civilian protection is a very important principle that we hold. Number 4 is the peace through diplomacy, not escalation. That we demand immediate de-escalation and a return to diplomacy. We condemn the US total obsession to war while using the Oman negotiation as a cover-up to mobilize military assets for an attack on Iran. While at the same time we affirm Iran has the legitimate right to protect its territory in accordance with international law. So this is also a clear principles that we want to agree upon. Whatever discussions or resolutions, these 4 principles will be the basis for our decisions. And we can express more about this, but can this be a reference for the Prime Minister to come up with a stand, a position? While condemnation is very welcome, but I want to hear whether there's a practical thing that Malaysia will do to be a voice that will be considered very important. Sure. Tadi kata 9:11.30. Ini bukan live.
Rasanya betul. Tidak boleh dipertikai kenyataan bahawa tindakan menyerang negara berdaulat dan merdeka adalah tindakan biadab, melanggar prinsip piagam Pertubuhan Bangsa-Bangsa Bersatu dan melanggar semua peraturan ketetapan dalam tatanan hukum undang-undang dunia. Oleh itu, Malaysia dengan ini mengutuk keras serangan rejim Zionis Israel dan Amerika Syarikat terhadap Iraq. Dan kita berpandangan bahawa tindakan ketenteraan yang berterusan ke atas negara bebas dan merdeka Iran, betapapun perbezaan dasar dan sikap terhadap negara tersebut, bertentangan dengan prinsip yang disepakati oleh dunia. Dan tindakan ketenteraan berterusan itu tentunya berisiko malah ketegangan, eskalasi lebih besar, menggugat kestabilan serantau, terutama di negara-negara teluk yang semuanya atau kebanyakannya diheret dalam kencah peperangan akibat dari serangan yang dimulakan oleh Israel yang bersekongkol dengan Amerika Syarikat. Tentunya sebagai negara bebas dan merdeka, Malaysia hanya mampu menyeru supaya gencatan senjata berlaku tanpa syarat, dengan serta-merta, dan kalaupun ada asas pertikaian, ia harus kembali ke meja perundingan secara konstruktif. Tatanan dunia termasuk PBB dengan kenyataan Susah Agung Guterres baru ini jelas mengikat negara anggota supaya mematuhi undang-undang antarabangsa. Namun Israel salah satu-satunya negara yang terus-menerus melanggar ketetapan antarabangsa. Hari ini Iran, semalam Lebanon, sebelumnya Iraq, Syria, dan pembantaian terhadap umat dan rakyat Palestin dan Gaza berterusan hingga kini. Sebab itu, kita tidak ada pilihan melainkan untuk menyatakan dengan tegas dan jelas bahawa tindakan ini adalah tindakan yang bertentangan dengan peraturan tatanan dunia dan harus dibantah dengan keras. Pilihan lain tentunya selain perdamaian ialah untuk mendapatkan kerjasama dengan negara teluk supaya kembali bersatu mengadakan perundingan, pertahankan kebebasan dan kemerdekaan rantau. Jika tidak, seperti yang boleh dijangka, giliran satu negara ke negara yang lain akan terus berlaku. Seperti mana yang pernah diungkapkan oleh beberapa pemimpin Israel dan yang terkini memberi amaran kepada pemerintah Turki bahawa mereka juga tidak terlepas daripada kemungkinan serangan Israel. Nasib Ketua, selain dari ketetapan tersebut, tentunya sebagai kerajaan kita bertanggungjawab untuk memelihara dan menjamin keselamatan rakyat Malaysia supaya keberadaan mereka di sana dapat dijamin keselamatannya. Ramai yang terkandas akibat penutupan ruang udara dan gangguan penerbangan, dan sebahagiannya memang sudah menetap dan bekerja di sana. Sebahagian lagi adalah pelancong dan jemaah umrah. Jumlah yang besar adalah yang berdaftar bertugas di rantau Timur Tengah yang mencecah lebih 29,112 orang di kalangan yang berdaftar dan tidak berdaftar. Paling ramai dari Qatar dan UAE, Emirat Arab Bersatu, Arab Saudi, dan Jordan. Kita, terutama Wisma Putra, sedang memantau dari dekat, sebahagiannya dibantu oleh kedutaan dan menghubungi sekiranya memerlukan kerjasama membawa pulang, walaupun terbantu sekarang kerana tersekat penerbangan. Penerbangan dibolehkan dari Arab Saudi, tapi negara lain masih lagi belum mendapat kepastian. Selain itu, saya ingin menggunakan kesempatan ini, Nasib Ketua, untuk juga mengumumkan bahawa dalam kesibukan ini, jangan kita lupakan nasib rakyat Palestin, khususnya di Gaza. Kerana sebaik saja peperangan meletus atau serangan daripada Israel itu dimulakan, maka pintu masuk Rafah Gaza juga ditutup di bulan Ramadan ini dan menyebabkan bantuan makanan, perubatan kepada rakyat terbantu dan keadaan mereka tentu jauh lebih gawat. Pada 1 Mac malam telah melancarkan misi bantuan kemanusiaan sumut darat 30 kontainer Malaysia ke Gaza yang akan membawa sebanyak 30 kontainer bersaiz besar dengan muatan sebanyak 374 tan bahan makanan dan kit kebersihan ke Gaza sebagai tanda solidariti rakyat Malaysia. Sumut darat menandakan komitmen kita kerana kita, dan saya bangga dengan anak-anak kita yang tidak lentur semangat mereka untuk mempertahankan hak maruah dan kelangsungan hidup rakyat Palestin. Pelancaran sumut darat juga membuktikan bahawa solidariti rakyat melangkaui kaum, agama dan latar belakang politik. Dan kita konsisten untuk berdiri teguh mempertahankan hak rakyat Palestin dan dalam keadaan sekarang membantu meringankan beban hidup akibat kezaliman rejim Zionis Israel. Kementerian Luar tentunya akan terus mengaktifkan bilik gerakan, memantau dari dekat, dan kita berjamin kita akan lakukan apa yang sabar dan mampu untuk membantu, termasuk melalui bantuan konsuler, nasihat perjalanan bagi rakyat Malaysia. Sama ada yang terkandas untuk memilih untuk pulang ke negara mereka. Akhirul kalam, Tuan Yang Bertuah, saya ingin menjelaskan bahawa untuk Malaysia sebagai negara berkembang kecil, tidak mudah memberikan ketetapan begini. Kerana bila berhadapan Israel, apalagi Amerika Syarikat, tidak banyak negara yang tegas menyatakan pendirian mereka. Tapi saya berunding dengan rakan-rakan saya, kita mengambil keputusan dan ketetapan untuk menyatakan yang hak dan yang konsisten dengan dasar kita selama ini, menghormati kebebasan dan menentang segala bentuk pencorobohan oleh mana-mana negara terhadap negara lain. Dalam kes ini tidak boleh kita perhatikan bahawa apa yang dilakukan oleh Israel dengan dukungan Amerika Syarikat itu sudah nyata pelanggaran prinsip tatanan dunia. Dan oleh itu, Malaysia mengulangi pendirian kita mengutuk serangan dan menuntut supaya dihentikan perbalahan dan mencari kedamaian di rantau Teluk dan juga Iran. Terima kasih.
Baik. Yang berhormat, penerangan daripada Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri itu kini terbuka untuk ahli-ahli meminta penjelasan dan memberikan pandangan. Saya telah pun.
Okay. Saya kira the spirit and the meanings is generally the position that we're going to take today. He mentioned about the condemnation and then the implication of the attack, which is going to disrupt the region. And he mentioned about, of course, touch about his condolences. And then he says that is among many nations, it's not easy to make a clear statement, especially against America. But he said he has discussed with the cabinet that we are going to laud this and we're going to say this very clearly. So I think we deeply appreciate the stand that he has taken, and this is the stand of the government. Now, what I'm going to do now is to read a draft declaration. All right? And then you can come in with one or two. Yeah? Datuk Mustafa would like to say anything afterwards. Let me read this declaration. In essence, it's very much the same with what the Prime Minister said, but we have some deliberation on the point. Right, it's called the Malaysian People's Declaration, Rejection of War and Hegemonic Power, Defense of Iran's Sovereignty, and Call for Global Unity Against War. In the name of humanity, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of humanity, conscience, and justice, we declare the following. We, representatives of Malaysia civil society, community leaders, youth movements, professional bodies, and concerned citizens, issue this declaration in response to the United States and Israel's military aggression against the Islamic Republic of Iran and the dangerous escalation that has followed across the region. We affirm that war and coercion must never be normalized as instruments of foreign policy, and that civilian life must be protected as a universal obligation. Number one, our clear rejection. War cannot be normalized through manufactured pretext. The pretext negative narrative, that is uranium enrichment, is being used to normalize aggression and regime change. We reject the framing that Iran's uranium enrichment is a sufficient excuse to launch attacks that predictably expand into regime change objectives. When a military campaign is packaged as prevention, but executed as decapitation and destabilization, it undermines the UN Charter's core principles, that is sovereign equality, territorial integrity, and the prohibition of unlawful force. Iran's nuclear file has long been politicized, but the present escalation shows a familiar pattern. A disputed security narrative is used to legitimize a strike. Then the mission expands into dismantling state capacity and forcing political outcomes by violence. We reject and condemn the US-Israel attacks, explicitly warn of a pretext logic tied to regime change. We condemn the assassination of the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, by the US-Israel military aggression. The deliberate killing of a religious figure of Iran is a dangerous move that will trigger a global retaliation. His martyrdom will mark an unending revenge from the people. Number two, what is at stake? Palestine, Al-Aqsa, and the regional power project. We state our deep concern that this escalation is inseparable from the wider regional project that seeks to silence and crush forces that support the Palestinian struggle. Many communities across the world understand that weakening Iran is also intended to weaken the axis of political and material support that has helped sustain Palestinian steadfastness under occupation and siege. We are aware of the wider ideological framing of the Greater Israel project, a notion that has triggered regional condemnation when voiced by the Prime Minister of Israel at the UN General Assembly. Now, this Greater Israel is mentioned in the General Assembly. In that context, repeated threats to the sanctity and status of Al-Aqsa and ongoing pressures around the Al-Aqsa compound remain central concern for the Ummah and for all defenders of religious freedom and protected heritage. We will not allow Palestinian rights, Al-Aqsa, and future of Jerusalem to be treated as collateral to militarized geopolitics. Yesterday, I just got information that Al-Aqsa is completely closed now. Nobody can go into Masjid Al-Aqsa starting yesterday. not even the officials, the imams, the muazzin, nobody. It's totally empty. Number 3, the Gaza precedent. How the US-Israel operate in an annihilation of people. The world has already witnessed a devastating model in Gaza: overwhelming force, mass destruction, siege conditions, and the destruction of civilian life systems. The casualties are alarming, and killings of children and women are at extreme scale. In this context, credible United Nations mechanisms and human rights organizations have issued grave findings and warnings and evidence of US complicity. This includes explicit genocide determinations by the UN Commission of Inquiry and United Nations Special Rapporteur report of describing Gaza as a collective crime sustained through third state complicity. We note with alarm that the international community has repeatedly been blocked from decisive action. Reuters reported that United States vetoed multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions calling for an immediate ceasefire and unhindered aid access, including vetoes in June 2025 and in September 2025. At the same time, continued US weapons support, including the movement of billions of dollars of weapons package and authorization of large bombs and aircraft transfers. Human Rights Watch has warned the US support can create legal exposure and complicity risk where assistance enables serious violations, including war crimes, and he has urged suspension of arms transfer to end US complicity in Israeli abuses. Taking together all this, these facts form a clear pattern: diplomatic protection at the UN, material support, and political messaging, while Gaza is devastated and accountability is resisted. So that is the point. Now, what is our demand? Number 1, condemnation of aggression. We condemn US-Israel aggression against Iran and the dangerous escalation it has triggered. We reject any attempt to normalize military attacks as routine policy. Number 2, independent accountability and truth. We call for credible and independent fact-finding on incidents involving civilian harm and for accountability consistent with international law. The world must not accept impunity. And the demands on the Malaysian government. Number 1, we call for the Malaysian diplomatic leadership. We call upon government of Malaysia to adopt and champion a principled stance at the United Nations in all diplomatic platforms, uphold the United Nations Charter, demand de-escalation, and prioritize civilian protection. Number 2, what we demand to Malaysia is Ummah unity for peace and stability. We call upon Malaysia to convene urgent Islamic nations for consultation to defend the sovereignty of nations from aggression by Zionist-led powers and develop a unified response focused on de-escalation, accountability, and justice for Iran. We call upon the government of Malaysia to act firmly and immediately, declare an unambiguous rejection of aggression and regional regime change by force, reaffirm United Nations Charter principles, and oppose any attempts to impose political outcomes through military power. We also call for Malaysia to lead diplomacy at the United Nations and mobilize ASEAN, push for urgent de-escalation measures, civilian protection commitments, and credible independent fact-finding on incidents involving civilian harm. And then we call Malaysia also to stand consistently for Palestine and Jerusalem, intensify diplomatic and advocacy for Palestinian rights, oppose violation in occupied territory, and defend the sanctity of Al-Aqsa and the status of Jerusalem. And the last call for Malaysia is national cohesion and information responsibility. We call all Malaysians and media institutions to uphold truth, reject disinformation, and maintain national unity. Public discourse must serve peace and humanitarian protection. The last part is our call for global unity against war, with a theme called One Demand, One Moral Center. We call all governments, parliamentarians, scholars, faith leaders, unions, youth, and civil society worldwide to unite around a shared demand. Stop escalation, reject regime change wars, uphold international law, protect civilians, and return to diplomacy. This is a moment for courage and clarity. War will not create security. It multiplies suffering, deepens injustice, and fuels a cycle that will consume the region. We commit ourselves to lawful, peaceful advocacy, humanitarian support, and sustained public education against war and militarized domination. This declaration is a voice of the conscience from Malaysia to the world. We reject war as a pathway to security. We reject any hegemonic power over sovereignty. We stand for human life, justice, and peace grounded in law. So I don't know whether you followed me. I'm getting a bit tired, but I speak a lot. But I'll share with you this. We have only 20 copies of this. So please put it on. If you want to give me your phone number, I'll just give you the soft copy. All right. So can anybody just one or two wants to add? Yeah, Dato' Mustafa. Go ahead.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, we fully support the direction read by Majlis now. And of course, I think we got our people's knowledge and solidarity with people of Iran. Second, understanding the issue nowadays, of course, we must understand that civilization of the world moving from fact Britannica to fact Americana and fact Judaic. We need to say that they were working together in terms of the term to control the world. America now, they know that fact Americana in the formations matter, we must understand that formations America did, I think for first the beginning, they killed about 100 million. 100 million. So for them to kill 1 million, 2 million, nothing. So they will killing 100 million of great Indian Americans. Meaning to say that for them, killing is nothing. Basically, that we have to face that we have a mammoth task. And of course, I think it was very, very important. It was statement in terms of our intention. But of course, more importantly, how you really do a mammoth task in terms of understanding, really uphold it, and then how to convince humanity, world class, and Muslim community in particular to understand how to go about. This is the moment because not only Iran, because Israel will now after Iran, they want Turkey, they want even Saudi. Close to Latin America, they want Saudi, they want Pakistan as well, and other Muslim states. We have a mammoth task to really understand, create awareness, create the understanding, create the unity in facing this, I would say, power of genocide, first Britain, then America, and now, of course, Trump trying to extend his maximum Israelis in expanding their federalism. Therefore, I think for the Muslim Ummah in particular, and humanity at large, I think this is a member task for us, and I think we have to, otherwise will be, of course, we will be, I mean, if you pray to them, and as a Muslim, of course, in particular, we believe our Prophet that inshallah, if you unite, then the future for us, what you tell Ayyam Yudhar Nas. So for today, is Allah granted mankind. Iran was the one, the center of Muslim civilization at the time, during Abyssinia and a few others. And I believe, inshallah, if we work together, we can face this brutal power in the world. OIC, then I think we have to work how to really disseminate this idea, convince and lobby, the whole world about AWANI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dato' Mustafa. So it's good. Yes. Yeah. You're welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chegu Azmi bin Abdul YB Dato Siri Mokris bin MAPIM, our brother Dr. Habib Raza Azami, Dato Nazim Jaman and our brothers and sisters. First of all, as a Pakistani journalist based in Malaysia for the last many years, we strongly condemn the joint attack by America and brotherly country Iran. We condolence for the Shaheed Supreme Leader of Iran. This is, as YB Dato Sri Mokris mentioned, it is the agenda of Greater Israel. They are doing, this is a very clear message to the Muslim nations on board of the so-called peace board of Donald Trump, that today is Iran and tomorrow you are the target. They have engaged Pakistan and Afghanistan in their wars between two brotherly Islamic countries, neighbor countries. They are in war with each other. They have engaged them already. And beside that, they are fulfilling their targets, their agendas. So, apart from all demands, we demand to our Muslim leadership to be united. The nation, the public is united. We demand our Muslim leadership to be united and answer this Zionist regime in the language which they understand. The time is over. This is now or never. If we don't do now, we will regret forever and ever. I thank you very much for the time. This is my message and solidarity with our brotherly country, Iran. Assalamu alaikum.
Trying to end this session because I will treat you for some refreshment that you can have by 7:30 later. We provide you with this refreshment. Okay. So I think the spirit has been expressed. The opinions and our positions and has been also been clearly recorded, and I think the media has already taken what you need. If you want to do your specific interviews with Dato' Sri, Dato' Nazim, and Ustaz AWANI and the other, please do so after this.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya bercakap dalam bahasa Melayu sikit sebab sensitiviti. Antara isu tadi kita semua lah bersimpati dengan apa yang berlaku di Iran dan juga apa yang berlaku di Timur Tengah. Cuma antara perkara yang kita kena ambil tahu juga dan penting bagi saya yang bincangkan yang masalah dan peribatan Muslim lebih yang menjadi isu sekarang berkaitan dengan perbezaan mazhab yang menjadi isu, termasuk kalau kita tengok di media sosial di kalangan orang Malaysia sendiri ada yang gembira pun dengan apa yang berlaku pada hari ini atas sebab perbezaan mazhab tadi. Malahan pendapat mufti wilayah sendiri yang mengharapkan Syahid diletakkan ke atas marhum ini pun dah diketikai kan. Malahan sebab anggapan kematian itu satu kemenangan. Dan diungkit pula cerita-cerita lama tentang permusuhan yang dah ratusan tahun antara Sunni dan Syiah yang sepatutnya menjadi kita boleh ketepikan, dan banyak dah perubahan dan pembetulan
yang dibuat oleh Syahid Ali Khomeini. Contohnya mungkin di kalangan yang ada di dalam Dewan sendiri tak sedar. Contohnya dia sendiri memberi teguran keras supaya orang Syiah tidak memburukkan atau menghina para sahabat Nabi SAW. Ramai yang tak tahu. Tapi malah ni bila dia bagi hujah itu, ada yang kata ini takiyah pula. Sampai bila nak selesai? Lepas tu yang keduanya macam isu pembandai atau mencederakan diri dalam amalan ritual orang Syiah itu ditegur juga oleh almarhum dengan mengatakan lebih baik daripada Allah. Jadi benda-benda ni ramai maklumat yang tak sampai ke Malaysia, ataupun kita maaf yang lebih malang pula fitnah-fitnah dan maklumat yang tak dapat ni disampaikan dalam kuliah-kuliah agama di masjid-masjid. Dan kebanyakan masyarakat kita ni tak ada tabayun 15 bulan. Dan sentimen kebencian mazhab ini, Sunni Syiah, dia benci Syiah ni lebih daripada Yahudi lagi. Sampai peringkat begitu. Sampai dia mendukung mereka sampai peringkat begitu. Ada yang pihak. Jadi saya rasa kita kena juga selain daripada kita meneruskan soal simpati dan juga apa yang kita boleh untuk membantu saudara-saudara kita ni, kena ada juga perbincangan ilmiah untuk kita menyelesaikan isu ini. Dan sebenarnya saya mengucapkan syabas dan tahniah juga untuk Maklumat semua atau usaha Cikgu Asmi yang sekarang sebenarnya dah mulakan 2 tahun dah silap saya untuk mempertemukan ulama Sunni dan Syiah. Dan saya sendiri dengan Cikgu Asmi pernah 2 tahun sudah kita pun dah bertemu dengan ulama-ulama Sunni di sana, mendengar apa cerita sendiri. Dan kita ramai tak tahu sebenarnya 25% umat Islam di Iran itu adalah orang Sunni, dan mereka antara yang menguasai ekonomi di negara Iran itu sendiri. Tapi ramai kita tak tahu. Tapi kita boikot produk Iran, boikot sebab ini Syiah. Sedangkan yang produk itu daripada orang Sunni. Ini antara perkara yang saya sendiri soal maklumat tentang aduan-aduan dan juga keluhan orang Sunni di dalam negara Iran yang mereka sendiri terpaling atas sebab mazhab itu. Sekadar lontaran pandangan untuk kita bersama fikirkan. Allah Alam. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih for raising. Basically, just repeating that this problem is still there of the Sunni Shia debate, and some are even celebrating. It's a very small number. We have to take into account. There's a lot of education to be done amongst the people, especially the asatiza, because they are the one that communicate with people, to give the kuliah, and that builds up the whole perspective. I wrote a piece on this because I know this debate. Should we support Iran or that based on the fiqh? So there's a small paper I already distributed. Tajuk itu saya ingat Fokrozi pun dapat. Perspektif fiqh Islam terhadap pencerobohan kuasa asing ke atas negara Muslim, penilaian syariah terhadap serangan US Israel ke atas Iraq. Jadi saya bagi Ghani dulu endorse. Dia kata walaupun cikgu bukan mufti, tapi ini boleh mufti semua boleh rujuk pada ni. So I'll share with you because saya tahu this debate is going to happen. Saya beranikan diri. Saya bukan ulama, tapi saya beranikan diri dengan banyak reference saya buat dalam 2 malam. Saya hantar ke beberapa ulama yang saya kenal. Mereka mengatakan cukup, ini terbaik cukup, kita sebarkan. Jadi Ustaz Ghani pun bersetuju. Tetapi saya cadang nak jumpakan usaha ini akan berterusan. We're going to continue these relations, this Shia and Sunni. But we know this has been manipulated by our enemies. This is the point that we have always been telling, that we have to stop this dispute then that can go violent. Indonesia we have cases like that. But on top and above that, we have break also in among the Sunni. We have the Wahhabis, we have the Salafis. So you have breakdown. We have the Tuqdin. Jadi Saddam is a Sunni. Gaddafi is a Sunni. If we talk about this. And among Shia also, they also break down. So if you go on and on like this, I think that's what they need. Muslims have to be broken. Now, we have understood this. The Iran has become the factor that we want to, come together with, as Datuk Mukhlis was saying, with fair-minded countries, right? You will be very. I feel a bit shameful when the country that drags Israel into ICJ was South Africa, not from Jakarta, not from Kuala Lumpur, not from it's those, and we have very aggressive expression from Ireland, not from Spain. And if you look at the build-up of people going to the street by the hundreds of thousands in Australia, in London, we can barely have a few thousands in Kuala Lumpur. So that gave a message that the problem is within us to be resolved. So let me now announce to you two things. Please lock your date. Number one is tomorrow. I'm inviting all the media and the people around the table to come together to the embassy of Iran at 10 a.m. to express our support and condolence to His Excellency, the Ambassador, and also to deliver this declaration. So at 10 tomorrow is an important day. Please come. Number two is that we are organizing this 10,000 rally on the 13th of March, Al-Quds Day, and this will add on with what's happening in Iran. So that will be another, we are calling all political parties, we are calling all NGOs to come, a show of solidarity, and also to express to the US that, somebody texted to me, he said, Cikgu, can you ask Prime Minister to expel the ambassador of the US? I said, that's a good idea, but, even the last time Tian Chua organized a siege on the embassy, a symbolic siege, but those are interesting ideas, but I think we have to be more practical about this. But the one that Dato' Nazim is leading on the boycott, BDS is leading, we have to emphasize that. We have to remind and make sure that we are consistent. And that will be the real impact, the economic resistance. That is what Iran said, the Shaheed said, we have one mukawamah, they call it the mukawamah iktisadi. Yes.
And tonight also is Majlis Tahlil.
Yes. And tonight, Excellency Dr. Arzani is also inviting you to come to the council office to have tahlil for the martyrdom Supreme Leader and also the rest, not only for him. So you're invited 8:30, right? So you can come. You can have your Isha prayer then, also your Tarawih, but no. Dia punya culture center. Kedutaan besok. Kedutaan besok pukul 10 pagi, malam ni. Cultural center. Okay. So, all right. I'm going to make the last say about our meeting. Thank you for everybody who has made the time. Please spread this declaration. I'm going to send this to the Prime Minister. I'm going to send this to the leaders of the OIC and also the United Nations, Anthony Guterres. I want to share to Mokris, and I think everybody, whenever I come, I've written 44 letters to the world leaders, from Xi Jinping to Vladimir Putin to Ramaphosa to that time was Kishida, Japan, and I wrote to Cristiano Ronaldo. And also, that was very exciting, but the one that was more exciting when I said I wrote to Angelina Jolie. So we said, Chico, please give me the number. So they got excited about it. But the engagement, the connection, the communication has to be done. Don't say to me that even writing a letter is not going to be impactful. But that is what the Prophet did. He sent his ambassadors go to China, go everywhere. When Cikgu, you're doing a MOFA work, I say, yeah, I want to take over MOFA. more father than do the work. You have to be more aggressive in this. Thank you so much again. Let me just close by inviting Dato' Wira AWANI to close with a doa. Father.
Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya kan Allah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Walau kita bersyukur dan marilah. Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa alhamdulillah. Rabbana kaffir 'anna sayyi'atina Rabbana atina ma wa'adtana 'ala rusulik wa la tukhzina yawmal qiyamah innaka tukhliful mi'ad. Ya Allah ya Arhamar Rahimin, ampunkan dosa kami ya Allah. Ampunkan dosa yang tidak boleh kami keluarga kami ya Allah. Dan seluruh kaum muslimin ya Allah. Ya Allah, jadikanlah kami orang yang berjuang untuk menegakkan kebenaran. Ya Allah, bantulah saudara kami yang teraniaya di mana saja mereka berada. Khasnya di Iran, di Palestin, di mana saja ya Allah. Ya Allah, ya Allah, ampunkanlah mereka dan bantulah mereka ya Allah. Ya Allah ya Arhamar Rahimin, irham do'ana, fatamim tafsirana wa kulana wa la tu'min. Allahumma ya munzilal kitab, wa ya mujriyas sahab, wa ya musabbal asbab, ya hazimal ahzab, ihzim a'da'ana min al-zalam wal malahida, wal sahayna, wal istimariyin, wal sahyuniyin, wal amerikan. Allahumma hdikum ya Allah. Allahumma ansurna alaihim ya arhamar rahimin. اللهم انصر إخواننا المجاهدين في كل مكان في فلسطين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ارحمهم، اللهم قوي شوكتهم واجمع شملهم واحد شتات أمرهم واحسنهم بحسنك الحصين المنيع وانزل لهم ملائكة تحميهم واسد رميهم. اللهم انصرهم نصرا عاجلا مؤزرا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله وسلم